Hey Warriors, happy Wednesday. Can you believe that this is the last week of February? March is just 1 week away. Is it me or is 2017 just flying by? I am so excited to turn this very timely call over to Nicki. March is now month. You have 5 amazing weeks of inspired recruiting coming up with an amazing contest that I'll be laying out for you next week on the Warriors United final call. And then those 5 weeks spill over into April, our 19th anniversary month. And there is a $1,900 cash prize that will be split between one lucky April recruit and recruiter. This call is perfectly placed because it's all about recruiting and team building from a place of service, and it's so good. You know, I have invested in your success by bringing Nicki to Athena's for this free learning series. So do me a favor and invest this time in yourself. 30 minutes. Close down your social media, be present, and absorb the learning because there's a lot of amazing content in this call. Your first code word is I. Your first code word is the letter I. And here is the grandmother willow of direct sales, Nicki Keohohou.
Hello, this is Nicki Keohohou, CEO and co-founder of the Direct Selling World Alliance and Coach Excellence Schools. I'm so happy to be back with all of you with Athena, and this is so exciting because this is the last week of February and March is your National Opportunity Month. So this call is very timely. March is all about recruiting. Tonight's call, we're going to cover how to teach the art of the invitation, what it takes to ensure a constant stream of leads and more effectively working with them, and how to model successful recruiting. So we're going to start with those three areas over the next 30 minutes. This is a big topic that we could actually discuss for hours, but today we're going to focus on the culture of developing a team who cares enough to share. You see, the tone of recruiting starts with the leader's focus, even before the new person joins your team. Teaching lead generation is key to direct sales and is the foundation of recruiting effectively. From there, recognizing how to extend the invitation and have the ability to engage the person for an interview are all skills to teach your team. Notice I use the word engage. This is not a convincing game, it is an engagement game. So it all starts with you. Direct sales is a simple business, but it is not always easy. We often hear the question, how do I find new team members who actually stick around long enough to make money, let alone move up in the company? Well, one reason that team retention may be low is the tendency to minimize the effort involved in starting a business. Yes, anyone can, or should be able to, be a success in direct sales, but it does take effort. You know, it's like when you're sitting down for an interview with someone and they say, I want to make $10,000 a month. And how much time can you commit to your business? Well, I have 15 minutes on Thursday. If we let that thing go by and not get the expectations in alignment with what the effort will be, shame on us for letting them think they could do it in 15 minutes on that one day. So, with a focus on answering questions when interviewing your potential team member, while not minimizing the effort involved, you're going to bring more people expecting to work their business rather than have it fall into their laps, because it doesn't. During the interview process, before they sign up, you can even imply that recruiting is part of the job, therefore setting an expectation. Sometimes during the interview, someone will say things like, do I have to recruit? Well, don't minimize it by saying something like, oh, don't worry about that until later. Instead, say something like, something that sets the bar for recruiting. So like, that is a great question. And I get that question a lot. Athena's is such an exciting opportunity that it changes lives every day. I am really expecting that it will provide benefits for you and your family and would hope that you would want to share it with your friends. Recruiting is important, and taking a leadership level is a choice that you can make later. I will support you all along the way. You can also say things during the interview that imply that it's part of the process to share the opportunity, therefore setting an expectation. An example of that might be something like, oh, I signed a young lady last week and she's so passionate she already shared our business with two of her friends. Your pre signing conversations actually set the culture for your team recruiting down the road. Sometimes people say things like, the product sells itself, or recruiting just happens because we have great products. Well, these ideas diminish the value of recruiting and will not promote it in your organization. Think about that. So let's talk about lead generation for a few minutes here. Often we focus our team on sales or finding business, then down the road teach them how to recruit. A caring team is taught recruiting from day one. Separating the education of sharing your business opportunity for a time down the road implies that it's not necessary to share the business opportunity now. So, as a leader, the focus for new team member orientation must be on lead generation. A goddess or an Adoni who can generate leads for sales or parties or just sales in general can also develop leads for new recruits. Teach lead generation and relate it to finding business sales and also sharing your business opportunity. A lead is basically an opportunity to serve someone in the future. It will develop or may not develop into a sale, a booking, or a recruit. But when we execute recruiting from the conversation in the beginning, we make them think that there's some reason it's harder. So if we don't talk about it, if we exclude it, they think, oh, too hard, that's too advanced, you don't need to know it. So they don't recruit, and they're getting ready to get ready for the rest of their life. So everything you say to a team member should be applied to sales, recruiting, and bookings. If you can develop a lead and create interest in a product, you can use the same techniques to create interest in the business opportunity. For example, you may say to your new team member something like, well, we're going to attend a business expo next month for lead generation. I'd love to have you come along. It's a great place to meet new customers, find bookings, and recruits. You can work with me and listen and learn exactly how we work with people to serve their needs. Or you may say something like, oh, I've got 9 parties this month and I'd love to have you come along so you can see how we recruit with ease, how we invite people to join us, how we create bookings and sales. Which of these parties would work best for you to attend? So as you can see, a simple sentence that includes rather than excludes the recruiting aspect of the business establishes the sense that all goddesses and Adoni do recruit. It's just like it's part of the business. So as a leader, your primary focus with your team must be lead generation. We could talk an hour on that topic alone, I'm sure. I'm going to cut to the chase and the bottom line on a few things. You are a successful leader, so start a list of all the ways that you generate leads. It is all about using many systems to find business. Whether you're looking for sales, booking, or recruits. Do you use Facebook? Do you go out and about and meet people while you're out shopping and doing other things? Do you ask people for referral? How do you get leads? New team members and every aspiring leader will benefit from leads. Leads and even more leads. That's what keeps your business moving. So your task is to teach all your team how to have a steady stream of leads. A direct seller with a full calendar will be a great recruiter. So over the next couple of weeks, work on a big list of where you have found business in the past, even if it is not your primary lead system. A team with multiple lead systems will be more willing to share. Remember that scarcity breeds fear, which in turn is not at all conducive to recruiting. So people have the belief that there's not enough leads, there's not enough people, they're not going to recruit. So taking your team as a group to fairs and expos every month or a party every month is one way to train them. Newbies can stand right alongside of a seasoned goddess and Adoni and learn the lingo as well as put it right to use and get tons of leads. Expos give your team the ability to overcome one of the primary objections heard from sharing the business opportunity. Where do I find business? The way you might respond to that is, we go to vendor events every month. Our next one is in 2 weeks, and it is a great place to learn the ropes and find sales bookings and people to join your team. Or it may be something like, we do parties every week, and at those parties we find new leads for more parties for sales as well as recruiting. I've got 2 or 3 of these parties coming up in the next 2 weeks. Which of these would you like to attend to see how that's done? You're sending the message that it's all about the combination, not just the sale. Every direct sales company tells their field to share out and about while you're out shopping, while you're out the grocery store, while you're at the gym, and so on, and find business everywhere you go. But really, very few of these companies actually give them the real word choices. A new person who is trained on how to strike up conversations will do so. The easiest way to start a conversation out and about is to give a sincere compliment to someone and follow that up with a question. It might sound something like, "My, what beautiful children you have. What are their names?" You see, people find you interesting when you are interested in them. Or it might be something like, "I love your earrings. Where did you get them?" These are conversation starters. Now, if you're doing things that are not true, that's called manipulation, and people can see through that. So make sure you're making true statements. Often misunderstood about finding business everywhere you go is that most think it means getting people to talk about business. But really, finding business while you're out and about is more about developing relationships. Write that in big fat letters. It is about developing relationship. So train your team how to find business through casual conversations. Lead generation is really just expanding your world. The more relationships you have with all different types of people, the more potential clients and recruits you have. So, apart from the process of finding leads, recruiting, and creating a recruiting team is about lead development. So once you're finding those leads, now we got to develop the leads. So we're not looking for recruits, we're looking for leads. As we said earlier, a lead is more. It could develop into anything. So a lead is a chance to develop a relationship and see how you can serve the needs of that person. Serve the needs of that person. Teaching your team how to share what they are passionate about in conversations with everyone is how they find the ones that want to be part of the company. Teach your team how to include the benefits of being a part of Athena's in their everyday conversations by saying things like, "Oh, since joining Athena's, my husband quit his second job because my commissions are paying the mortgage now." Wow, that would make me want to ask you a few questions. Or, "Athena's has given me a chance to attend all my daughter's field trips." They'll go, "Wow, you get to go to all the things your kids are doing? How are you doing that and working?" They're going to ask you a question. Or, "Last year, my husband and I went on an all-expense paid vacation to Mexico with our company." That will make somebody go, "Wow, you must be doing really good. How are you doing that?" When you share tidbits of information within conversations, within your constantly growing pool of friends and relationships, you will soon hear questions about the business opportunity that allows you to speak to them and respond. So now we've developed those leads a little bit. Now we're going to get ready to invite others to join us. If you never ask, you never get an answer. So no means no. It can also mean you didn't ask. Because you see, if you don't ask, you automatically have the answer of no because they didn't have a choice. You chose for them. Many people do not recognize the opportunity to give the invitation and just ask. So teach your team how to see that a person has a level of interest. They'll send you signs. They'll send you signals. They'll make statements. If they've got a level of interest of any sort, that's a door opener for you. So a question or a statement made by someone indicating they have an interest and are giving you permission to talk, recruiting, sounds something like this. "Well, how far do you drive to your presentations?" Or, "Do you really make money at this?" Or, "Where do you find business?" Or, "How do you get these parties booked?" Those are all questions that they are interested. Actually, any question or statement about your presentation or business would be considered an interest statement. So once you begin to invite people, the interview follows quickly. Always be ready to conduct an interview. Of course, you can make an appointment, but why do that if both parties have the time right now? So make an assessment if now's the time. Generally, at an event when there's a lot of people and they're waiting in line to place their orders and so on, that is not the appropriate time. You could ask them if they could stay for a while after the event where you could answer those questions or make an appointment. So right now I'm going to share the code because we have a code in every one of our calls. So that code for this time is the word have, H-A-V-E. H-A-V-E. So let's go right into the interview so you get an idea of how this can be simple and effective. Keep the process easy to follow. We often have a tendency to give out too much information too quickly, and the prospect is going, oh gosh, I'm turning you off because it's too much for me. We want to make this simple. So when you ask questions of them, you're going to learn about what they are interested in and therefore meet their needs. So we're going to talk about 6 basic steps to an actual interview. The first step is establish rapport. And when I talk about establishing rapport, that really means making a solid connection with someone. So how do you make a connection with people that lets them know that you care, that you are interested in them? Well, we have 5 principles that we follow in this area to establishing rapport, and they spell the word STAIR. They're the STAIR steps to creating rapport. S stands for service. How do they know that you are there in service of them? So if you say something like, now, are you going to get started today? Because if you do, I win the trip. Well, that's not about service. The T in the word STAIR stands for trust. They must trust you, showing up on time, telling the truth, not exaggerating. The A stands for authenticity, being real, not putting on airs, not trying to be somebody you're not, being who you are. The I stands for integrity, doing the right things even when people aren't looking. Show up in integrity. And the R is for respect, being respectful of the person and their beliefs. You know, one time I was in a coffee shop. By the way, if you ever see me in a coffee shop, I'm really listening if there's nobody with me, because I learn all the things of what not to do in these career conversations or interviews. And this is what the lady said to the person. She said, well, you ready to sign up? She thought that was the close. We don't talk about close. We talk about opening the door to the relationship. Now, well, she says, are you ready to sign up? And the lady says, well, I need to talk to my husband about it. And she said, well, why do you need to talk to him? It's your business. He has nothing to do with it. The woman signed out at that moment. She just checked out. So know, are you showing up with respect to that person? Did you show up on time? Did you honor them by letting them talk? Did you show respect by offering to pay for the coffee? How did you show respect to that person? So that's how we establish rapport, make a solid connection with people. Step number 2 is to ask and listen. So ask and listen to what the person has to say. Ask questions that you are interested in them. That's what you're demonstrating, your interest in them. Such as, what brought you to meet with me today? And stop, zip your lip. If you have to put your hands over your lip, do it, just so that you don't talk over them, because you're going to listen with your heart, not just your head. So that means you're going to understand the meaning behind the words, the feelings behind the words they're saying. That's the listening part. So what brought you to meet with me today? What are you looking for in a home-based business? Might be another question. What really matters to you? You know, what made you think that direct selling would be good for you? What interests you in Athena's? What do you know in the area of sex education? What would you like to learn in that area? So those are questions to really connect with the person and listen what they say. Now you know where to go with what they've said. If there's key points, you know, what made you meet with me today? Well, you know, My husband makes a lot of money and we need a tax write-off. Well, then later on in the conversation, you could go into some of the tax benefits. Or when you say, what brought you to meet with me today? Oh, my friend told me I had to. And that would be kind of an interesting response. But if they said that to me, I would say, so what do you think that they saw for you in Athena's? And you may change the whole conversation. Here's the thing about asking questions. You don't create objections. People do not object with their own answers. If you're getting a lot of objections in these interviews, it probably means you're making too many statements. So go back and evaluate. We call it the 80-20 rule. 80% of the time in these conversations, you are asking questions and listening. 20% of the time is you responding to their questions and making statements. So what I want to ask you is, what is your percentage? If you're even 50-50, you just took the chances down big time that the person is going to enroll. So really work towards that 80-20. Step number 3 is understand why the person wants to be an Athena's business owner. We teach the emotional why here, and I don't have time to go into that, but I'm going to tell you something. Understand that emotional reason for the person. Because the material reason is nice, that's not going to keep them in the game. The material reason could be to have a car, or the material reason could be to pay off bills. The emotional reason is, for the car, it would be the emotional reason could be, you know what? I had a lady say this to me, so I'm actually going to use this example. I said, what makes that car so important to you? And she said, and her head dropped. And she said, because I have to drop my children off 2 blocks from the school because they're humiliated of the vehicle we drive. I no longer want my kids to live in poverty. Now that's a far distance from to get a car. Think about that a little bit. So you got to know that why and then connect the why to the company. If the person said their emotional why was they wanted something of their own that they could create from the ground up, that's like the doctor's wife, the lawyer's wife, their husband is taking care of them. They want something of their own is a very common reason that they created. So when you connect this why, if that was their statement, the way you would connect it in step number 4 is, wow, through Athena's, this is your business. You can make it as big or as small as you want. It's yours. I'm here to support you along the way. It is your business. So how big would you like to make your business? And you let them talk again. So step number 5 is to invite them to join you. Invite them to join you. It's an invitation, not an expectation. And it doesn't sound like, are you ready to sign up? Because guess what they can say? No. So an invitation is different. It might sound something like this. On a scale of 1 to 10, with 1 being, no, this would never be for me, and 10 being, I'm ready to get started right away, where are you right now? Now, remember, we have the smilers and the nodders that smile and nod, and they're at a 2. Well, you think that they're not in at all, so you try to get them to sign the document, and then you're upset that they don't. Now, I'm going to say this. Remember, there are only 3 kinds of no's. No, not now. No, not ever. And who do you know? So if somebody does say no, they're saying no when they're a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, even a 6. So I can see that right now might not be the right time for you to get started in the business. Here's some verbiage you may want to consider. There are still 3 ways for us to work together. You told me that you were really interested in the products. Which of these lines interests you the most? So getting them to be a customer. You moved them. You don't throw the baby out with the bathwater. That's a horrible saying, but we don't do it. We keep them in the game. And if they say, oh yeah, I really like the products and I'm interested in this, go to the products. And if they say, oh, I'm just not sure, I kind of like them all. Well, I'm glad you love the products. How would you like to get some of them free or half price? What are they going to say? No, I hate free? Well, that's by being a hostess, and you have an opportunity to explain the host program. So the third way that they can work with us is through referral. So you might say something like, who do you know that would enjoy having an additional $100, $500, or $5,000 or more per month coming into the household? Who do you know? And they might say me, because you told them, well, I only do this to make $100 a month. Well, they might be the one that said, yes, me. Or they might say, my sister Susie would do that. Well, I offer a referral gift for someone that refers an individual that was interested in the business or in hosting a party or the products themselves. And, who did you want to refer? Who were you thinking about? And then find some gift to give them after the referral takes place. Now, we didn't talk about if they're 6, 7, or even an 8. If she's a 6 to an 8, you might want to consider saying, what will it take to move you to a 9 or a 10? The 6 you kind of have to look at and decide yourself. Are they below the line or above the line? If there's any hope for them, you might say something like that. What will it take to move you to a 9 or a 10? Oh, I'll never be there. I'm a 6. I'm a good 6. Then go back to your 3 ways again. Now, here's the magic. If they're a 9 or a 10, stop talking and say, what will it take for you to get started now? And see what they say. Oh, I just need to do what it is. And if they say, oh, I have a few more questions. Well, what are those questions so that we can get that handled now? Often there may be legitimate reasons, and often there are excuses that people are hiding a real reason behind that may not be voiced. So make sure you ask those questions to get to what the real reason is. It could be fear. It could be fear of success, fear of failure, fear of I don't know what to do, any kind of fear. Who knows what exactly that is? So the final step, folks, step number 6 is follow up. We say follow up fast, friendly, not forever. You don't need to turn into a stalker. Set a specific time for that follow-up. So when would be a good day for me to follow up with you after you talk to your husband? Oh, on Thursday. Great. Would morning or afternoon be better? Afternoon. I'll block that time off in my calendar. Like 2 o'clock or so? Yes. I'm going to commit that to you. Will you do the same? That's called setting an appointment. If you don't have a follow-up real appointment, it's only a delay tactic on their part, and no follow-up will take place from you. I'll call you sometimes next week is not an appointment. So when you learn to recruit, you are building your business exponentially. You have the opportunity to create a big business with Athena's. Remember that March is all about recruiting. So enjoy the journey, recruit more, and implement immediately some of the things that you heard on this call today. It's been a joy working with you, wishing you the best for your March. Make it a March madness with great things happening in your business. And I look forward to speaking with you again soon.
Once again, I kneel before you with such gratitude, Mother Willow. Nicki. I am just, again, blown away. 3 pages of notes. Amazing call. What was your aha moment after spending this half hour with Miss Nicki? I had a few. I loved her list of questions for the interview and listening with your heart. And I even typed up the 7 questions, and I'll put them up in the Wow War page so you can have them. And to conclude this Warriors United call number 5, I'd like to remind you that the directions to submit your code words will be posted on the Wow and More pages. They're listed in the email that contained this link and are listed in the Google Doc. I empower all of you to find and follow the directions, and submitting your code words by midnight tonight means you will be entered to win a $300 Valentine's Day booster kit. Woo! And the final code word is talent, Talent. Your final code word is talent. Nicki and I will be back on March 1st. I can't believe I'm saying that. March 1st, next Wednesday, with call number 6, the final Warriors United call for session number 1. On that call, I will be announcing the March National Opportunity Week's recruiting incentive. Woo-hoo-hoo! You're going to want to tune in and find out. Will it be sun and fun, cash, free product? Make sure you tune in next Wednesday. I am so grateful for you, and I appreciate the time and the effort that you have committed to this learning series. It is my hope that what you have learned will help you become a skilled and poised goddess or Adonis, recruiter, and team leader. I'm wishing you a strong and happy ending to February.